Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Elizabeth. This is EJ Joyful Plans, and today we are not using stickers. We are only using pens, an all pen spread to make our third and final Christmas tree in the 3 weeks of Christmas trees in my Skinny Classic leading up to Christmas. So let's get started. The first thing that I do is draw the lines of the Christmas tree. I am using a Stabilo gray pen. Oh yeah, don't look at my nails today, guys. It's all a hot mess. So I'm using this Stabilo gray pen to draw the lines of the Christmas tree, and they don't have to be perfect. Honestly, like, you could use a ruler or you could do it by hand. I decided to add the top point of the tree to the paper just so I have a reference point as I pivot the ruler around the page. And of course I have to be extra. First I think, oh, well, maybe I should count it so it's exactly in the middle, and I decide not to do that. So all we're doing is drawing the lines of the Christmas tree. I saw an Instagram account of an artist, not in the planner community, that posted a bunch of Christmas trees with these long vertical lines and then used sticker dots to put ornaments on the tree. And I almost did that today, but I honestly didn't want to waste my dot stickers. And I was thinking, well, if the Tombow pens are water-based, then couldn't I just do little dots and take water and kind of bleed them out to make them look like they're glowing? And I did sample it on some white paper and it worked. So that's what we are going to do today. We're drawing lines on the tree, and then the color from the tree will come entirely from little dots of Tombow markers. So I'm really excited about this. And I think we should fast forward through this part because it's gonna take forever. All right, guys, we are back. We have got a water brush pen. I picked this up at Michael's. All you do is you add water to it, and it's got a paintbrush tip, so it's super easy. I actually prefer them to the water pens that come in the sets of the Tombow markers, so highly recommend getting one of those if you like it. And I'm just showing you the different pens that I'm using. This is the 679. It's a really deep plum. The 296, which is a really playful bright green. The 847 is a red tone, and this is a really beautiful deep teal, 379. And then the last color that I'm not going to use water on actually is the N95. It's such a light gray that it already looks blown out, so I won't be adding water to that. So I think I'll go real time just for the first few dots so you can see what the technique is. I kind of fiddle around with like which hand will be better. I'm right-handed, so I'm like, do I want more control when I'm laying the color or when I'm adding the water? And I opt for, I think multiple times I switch hands. So what you're gonna see me do is do a little bit, just a little dot of color and a little bit of water. Little dot of color, little dot of water. So I tried different methods here, like color, water. I tried, let's do multiple dots of color and then do the water. And if you do too many dots of color just to make this process move faster, the color will dry and it won't bleed quite as well. So you really do want to kind of space things out, though I didn't need to be as uptight in this first round going, water after every dot. So you'll see that I do get faster. I also noticed that I was really conservative with my color dots at the beginning and they just weren't bold enough. So my circles get a little bit bigger with the pen, and I do a little more or a few more dots before adding the water just to make the process move a lot more quickly. And I will zoom in a couple of times or pull the paper up so you can see what effect it's having. But what it's doing is bleeding out the dot so it looks ombre or it looks like it's glowing. And that was the impact I was going for. All right, friends, time to start speeding this process up. Again, I'm just dotting and adding water with all of the different colors, just filling in the Christmas tree to the best of my ability, trying not to put too much water on the page because I didn't want it, ooh, so cute. Didn't want it to get too wrinkly, and I didn't want it to bleed through too bad. Though, because I'm just using dot grid filler paper from the Happy Planner, I know that I can just glue next week's pages to the back and you won't be able to see it. So I was less worried about the bleed through than I was about the wrinkling. Wrinkling really bothers me, but this spread is for me. You can't really see it in pictures. So it's just something that I have to deal with during the week. And I think it's worth it because the tree is so pretty. And I wish that you guys could see what it looks like in real life, but the bleed is really a really beautiful, beautiful technique. So I'm just adding some finishing touches. And the really light gray was just a nice way to fill the rest of the tree in. Just any gaps that I have that are super noticeable, I just fill in with the gray. So this is where things get messy for Elizabeth again. I knew I wanted like an exploding star at the top, and I just could not get the water to bleed out that yellowy mustardy color. So I kept putting these splotches of yellow and then adding water on top. And I was like, well, maybe if I go springing them outward, it would look good. And if I add more water, it will look good. And this is probably one of my least favorite parts of the spread, and it bothers me for a while until I fix it. So stay tuned. I kind of fix it. I'll show you what that looks like shortly. I do take some Jelly Roll pen to it. So now we're gonna pivot over to the right side of the page. Again, this is for the week of Christmas, and the Skinny Classic is what I use for home to-dos, just my running to-do list. And thankfully, I actually don't have a lot of things to do for Christmas this year. If you follow me on Instagram and you saw my morning musings, I told y'all that whatever you have done to prepare for Christmas this year is enough. Don't compare it to previous Christmases. What it is for this year is what it is. So I have really let go of a lot of stress around the consumerism of Christmas. And what's done this week is done. I'm good to go. So I don't need a huge to-do list. So that's why I am taking more liberties with this spread. So thank goodness for dot grid, because you can just draw boxes fairly easily. I do a long vertical box first with a pencil. Now I'm lining it with the gray Stabilo pen. And I also draw some string lights because I just really am a big balance person. If you're going to put a ton of Christmas lights on one side, you have to have like at least one string of Christmas lights on the other side just for balance. So I do throw some of those on the upper right corner. I'm just erasing the pencil that originally had the boxes. You can use a ruler for your boxes or with dot grid. I think it kind of looks cool, Bujo style, when you're just kind of hand drawing the lines. So I was pretty happy with that, even though you can see that the lines are a little wobbly. So I played around with 2 strings of Christmas lights, and something just didn't seem right about it. So I ended up erasing the second line, and I actually end up doing more icicle style lights on that lower box, which you'll see shortly. I'm a big fan of shadow boxes. So anytime you see me hand draw a box in one of my spreads, I will probably add a drop shadow behind it. It just totally makes the box pop off the page, giving that 3-dimensional look, which I love. So now I'm making permanent my string lights with that gray pen, and we're gonna just repeat the process all over again like the Christmas tree, adding the color dots and then blowing them out with the water brush pen. That's cute, I like it. I like it a lot. And then I decide to go ahead and put the string lights or the icicle style lights on the lower box. And again, same process all over again. It seems laborious doing the water and pen back and forth, back and forth. It really is not that much work. It really isn't. And it's really easy. You don't have to be a painter. You just need to have something with water that can bleed the pen out. So here you can see I'm like going back to that star. Something just isn't right. I'm looking at it. I hate it. So I grab the Jelly Roll pen and I'm just putting that white ink over the really bold parts of the yellow pen that didn't bleed out from the water. You can still see it. You can still see the yellow, but it's just a lot more muted, which is really what I wanted to begin with. So that area of the paper is a little wrinkly, but it is what it is. I can live with that. So I grab this is the only time you'll see a sticker book in this video because it's a whole pen spread. But with some of my pens, I really like to have a soft, cushiony bottom to write on. So I grabbed the Christmas Joy sticker book as a writing pad so that my ink would flow better. And I wrote Merry Christmas down at the bottom, which I don't know why I did that, you guys. Again, you can quote me. Every video, I think, from now until the end of time, will be, I'll say something about hindsight being 2020, because you'll see that I end up changing a lot of the writing that I do on the page. So I added the date, I added the year, and, you know, just for a little zhuzh, I add some kind of drop shadow with that yellowy color just to kind of connect the dots with everything. And as I'm doing this, I know something doesn't feel right about the spread. There's just a lot of white space on that left side. I don't like where Merry Christmas is located, but I just keep charging forward anyways. So I label my to-do box, and I add a quote into the smaller box because I don't think I actually need the smaller box. I just wanted to have some texture on the page. So I added the phrase, peace and hope is here. And for me, the hope of Christmas comes in the birth of baby Jesus. And that is where my peace and my hope comes from. And so I just liked that little reminder on my home to-dos for the week. I'm just cleaning it up a little bit and decide to add a little bit more of that yellow just to connect it from the other side of the page to the word hope. Because the I love the friction pens because they're erasable, but they're not the boldest ink. So I grabbed a Papermate Flare pen and re-outlined the quote so that it pops more. This ended up making me realize that I don't like how muted the boxes are themselves. So I do end up taking the Papermate Flare pen and I redraw all of the boxes with that pen. Okay, so now we have pivoted over to the other side. I just don't like all the blank space. So I decided to do string lights, kind of mirroring that right side over on the left side. Something still isn't quite hitting right with that left page, all that white space, but I'm just not sure what to do with it. So I stop and call it a spread. Or do I? Hey guys, future Elizabeth here. Different voiceover Elizabeth. I'm actually like live in the flesh. So I had to come back to the spread because something didn't feel right about having Merry Christmas really small down here. And I had all of this space here and I was looking at it. I even took pictures of it for Instagram and I couldn't handle it. Couldn't handle it. So I pulled the sheets off of the planner. I went ahead and I whited out Merry Christmas. And I used white washi tape to cover the bottom, and I'm just gonna leave that blank. Then I took a Papermate Flare and re-lettered in Merry Christmas up here just as filler. And as I was looking at this and seeing how simple it was and how, unfortunately, in photos, you can't see how this is bled, how the ornaments have bled out. I was like, you know, if you can't really get that technique in a photo, then I don't know, I want there to be more on this to catch the eye, I guess. So I'm back to this spread And I'm going to add some string lights here a lot like this. Well, basically just like this. And I'm going to do it in live time right now, just so you guys can see the amount of effort this takes. So I will, let's do this. So I'm just going to take my Stabilo pen, and I'm just going to do some lines like so with this gray pen. And I have made some lines with pencil that I'm just going to erase. Oh, and I wanted to put one up here because why not? Nobody has to do this. I'm a little, I'm a little intense when it comes to seeing layouts and stuff. Excuse me for just a moment. Grab all these pens back. Yeah, when I do a spread and I'm looking at it and I'm not happy with it, several things happen. I try to figure out what didn't work, and I try to fix it, or the not so great thing, I start over again, and I just don't have it in me to do this whole spread all over again. So we're not going to. And now you can see live in real time what I'm doing. I'm doing a little dot and taking the brush pen, which is just the water pen. I know I've already said this, but now that I'm actually live with you, you can see it happening in real time. And I really wanted these to stand out more, but man, it's really hard to tell when you're not in person. So just know that a spread like this is not for other people per se. You know, if you're doing this, you're doing it because it's what you want to look at this week. I think that's true for most spreads. At the end of the day, you're doing it for you, unless you're a decorative planner just for social media. Sometimes I'll do spreads just for fun or just to play with stickers or different techniques. But for the most part, I'm doing this because I'd like to actually look at something pretty all week when I'm planning. So, you know, when you're putting in such an effort like this, bleeding out ornaments, and they're not going to show up in photos, just know, you know, this is like your little, this is your spread for the week. I need to keep that in mind with this, that this is my memory keeping. This is for my delight. So, and let's add the gray, which is such a light gray that you don't even need to bleed it out because it naturally just kind of bleeds out. All right, that is way more balanced, way more balanced. Now I need to decide if I want to add a little bit of highlight to the Merry Christmas. I didn't over here, just over Hope. So I might just leave that as it. Now let's just color over it with some gray. Just because why not? Yeah. Just for a little something, something. All right, guys. Now I think I truly am done with this spread. And I think because of that, I'm just going to say goodbye to you live and in the flesh. Let's stick these guys on here. I can get this on correctly. You also have to be okay with a little bit of wrinkling. Let me balance this so you can see it. You know, it is a little wrinkly. Anytime you're doing something with watercolor or water-based pens and you're adding more water, they're going to be a little wrinkly. But, you know, this is for me, so it doesn't matter. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope that this was interesting to watch, fun to watch. If you like hanging out with me and you want to do it again, then I hope that you will subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell. I'm super irregular in posting videos. I'm new to this. I'm still trying to figure out a video schedule. I'm still figuring out how to edit, how to do this right. So if you want to learn with me, then just hang out. Just hang out, turn on the notification button or hit the notification bell and subscribe to my channel. Also, in the meantime, I'm super active over on Instagram. My handle is ejjoyful_plans. It's a good time. I check in every morning, hang out with you guys. I really love interacting with the planner community. So go hang out with me over there. And until next time, guys, God bless you and keep you. Do something creative today, no matter how big or how small. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. No. Cheers, guys.